Was the worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach Lisa-Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance in Business, Mindset, Wellness, and Success to help you master disruption.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
Celebrity coach Nick has 20 years experience as a business owner, entrepreneur, performer, promoter, writer, and speaker. He's the author of Get Real and Take Responsibility for What You Want, with a master's degree in leadership. And he's completing his second professional coaching for life and work graduate certificate at UC Davis. Nick's an expert at fear removal, and his current focus is helping celebrities get unblocked, create their own definitions of success, and translate that into all areas of their lives. Welcome to Whole CEO with Lisa G, Nick.
Thank you, Lisa G. I'm so happy to be here. I love your podcast. I just love it. You do such a great job attracting so many knowledgeable and wonderful people. Well done.
Well, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Now, let me jump right into the content. Why focus on celebrities? Aren't they already pretty unstoppable?
I mean, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And I just see a unique opportunity. One of the things my sales training mentor, Eric Lofholm, focuses on a strategy called POIs, or people of influence. And basically what he says is that and this can work not just in sales, but in any kind of networking or anything you want to do, if you can get in touch with somebody who already has a tremendous reach, you can get a lot done in a single conversation. And I think that there's a very unique opportunity with celebrities, because we are really a celebrity culture these days, right?
Well, especially here in LA, and even California, where you are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if one individual who has a really large reach is living wholly, WHOL,
right?
Like whole CEO,
whole CEO, yeah.
If they're living their authentic best life,
right,
then that's got to benefit their fans, right? Because people are getting more and more transparent, and it might even influence the content that they're presenting and blessing the world with. And it also gives them an opportunity to truly reap the benefits of all of the tremendous work. It's such a competitive industry, so that they're really living a form of success that they enjoy, rather than just having other people telling them how happy they are all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I love the potential of the ripple effect. It's like when one person smiles at you, then it can turn your whole day around. And then if you have such a huge influence, if you're influencing the influencer, they're influencing the millions. I can see why you're drawn to that work.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the downside, I mean, not to be too negative about this, but there's a cost to fame, right? I mean, we hear about that. It gets written into the songs. You see it in the movies. You hear it in the interviews. It's not easy. Essentially, celebrities are extraordinarily popular people. Right. And another way of saying that is that they're professional people pleasers, right? And you can lose yourself.
Yeah, like you're going to the grocery store and you ate a burrito and everyone's like, oh, that so-and-so's pregnant, or so-and-so isn't nice. So the pressure is on.
Yeah. And, you can really lose yourself in that. And I think that's a complaint sometimes with people that enter politics. By the time the campaign's over, they don't even know who they are anymore. And that's not a character judgment. I don't think anybody else would handle it any better. That's tremendous pressure. But I'm just saying, wow, why not create a scenario where you can enjoy the fruits of your work and maintain yourself and still be able to give the world the gifts that are coming to you, to benefit them. And I'm super passionate about that.
I love that. And that's why I like coaching as well, because I feel like all athletes and leaders need coaching, and the top athletes and the top leaders are always coached because the pressure is on and emotional maturity is so important, the gap between stimulus and response. So I really love what you're up to in the world, and that's why I invited you on here. And what can you tell us about becoming unshakable and having less fear that we haven't already heard? Because right before we started this podcast, you took me through the fear removal exercise, and I want to share that with our audience. But let's just start with how important is having less fear in this uncertain, crazy time we're all living in right now?
How important? I mean, I think it's vitally important, and I think that has to do with the particular definition of fear that I choose to use. Can I share it with you?
But of course.
Well, thank you. Um, I you've heard the expression false evidence appearing real, right? That's become very popular.
Right.
And it's catchy, but it's profound, because basically what it means is that something is being presented that isn't real, that appears to be real.
It feels real though, like, because like the media and all of this like sky is falling kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And so what is that? Is that just, does that have to be an anxious feeling? Well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be, right?
Right.
Does it have to be some sort of a phobia? Well, I like the broadest possible definition of fear, which would be any misconception. It could be a bias. It could be an attitude.
Yes.
It could just be the foundation point. It could be the reverberation of some, we talked a little bit about abuse and before we started rolling here. And
Yeah.
I had just read an article, a Forbes article, where they're estimating that 80% of people have been emotionally abused at some point in their life.
I
So
know I have. Yeah, that's why I was
yeah,
excited to go through that
yeah,
exercise with you, because the pandemic has stirred up fear in everybody. And that's why I launched this podcast during the pandemic. It's like everything that we knew, there is no certainty, but everything we thought we knew was certain has changed. And there's of course a silver lining. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about having less fear and anything that isn't real?
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm happy to. So the point I was getting to about the abuse, and really COVID could be considered a form of abuse. I mean, it definitely had a deleterious impact on all of us, changed our lives, and
Yeah.
it turns out in some ways there were very big silver linings and encouraging things that came out of that. But when something happens in that category, we naturally build up defenses and stuff like that to protect ourselves. Well, that could be a form of fear, because maybe I'm trying to protect myself in a situation where I'm actually safe, but I don't know it because I'm remembering something that happened in 19 whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's an expanded definition of fear. But the other thing that I just want to mention about fear, and this is something, I'm doing a lot of postgraduate work on this. In fact, I've been accepted into a PhD program that I'm probably going to have to defer at this point. But the whole purpose of it for me was to actually delve into fear, because in the coaching community, what I'm hearing a lot is that people consider fear to be a category of multiple categories. Like, you got your health, you got your finances, you got your romantic life, and then maybe you got fear and you got exercise. And it's like, actually, I don't see it that way. I see fear as the thing that keeps us from being unstoppable. It is a layer like clouds that is blocking us from our unstoppableness, and it can pervade all of those categories of life.
I
And
agree.
I believe that unless that's being treated, I am just in this world doing the dishes while the house is burning down.
That
The
is
fear
so
must be treated first.
I agree with you 100%. And I want to get a little bit more into how can our audience get past fear and become unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable in these uncertain times? Because I know you took me through that exercise of fear removal, and I really loved it, because I am somebody who's been through abuse. I have had anxiety and stress. And although it was processed a long time ago, what happens is things get thrown at you and you want to be able to not bring those past experiences and really be present in the moment and be like, is this real or is this about my past?
Yeah, and that's hard to navigate because real evidence also appears real, right?
Right.
So you got real evidence appearing real, false evidence appearing real. You know, who's talking? How do you tell the difference, right? And
Yeah,
so
it's like forget everything and run or face everything and rise. I love all the acronyms, but I love your work that you're doing in the world. So how do we move through this fear and get to the bottom of things?
yeah, that's great. I'm so glad you asked me that, Lisa. So the point is to filter, right? The point is to be able to recognize what fear is and what fear isn't. But because the phenomenon of fear is in our consciousness, we're trying to use the thing that's broken to try to decipher what's broken and what's not, right? I mean, that
Right.
ain't gonna fly. Like, and so I have found that I need some sort of a filtration system that engages something beyond the thought process that I'm in, and for me, what that is, and I've done it literally over 10,000 times in writing in my life, including this morning, and I'm planning to do it before my meditation again this afternoon, is the exercise that you just did. So can I turn the tables, Lisa, and you tell me what you just did?
Okay. This was so helpful for me because I'm so into personal development and I'm a coach and I love to help busy executives become unstoppable in high performance. And for me, I feel hypocritical if I don't turn it around and apply it to myself and also have a coach. Like coaches need coaches too. So the exercise that you gave me right before we recorded this podcast was simple. I wrote down all of my fears and then I wrote down a more empowering thought afterwards.
And you did one other thing too, didn't you? In between those two things, you actually asked something, your highest sense of self, your highest sense of support, whatever you want to call it, higher power, whatever people call it, you asked for that to remove them. So you went up higher.
And then I instantly wanted to reframe it into the positive of what I do want to manifest.
And those floodgates really opened, right? Do you want to put down the positive things you wrote? Do you want to share those?
Oh, I am manifesting perfect health, wealth, and abundance, vitality, and youthfulness forever. I'm married and manifesting multiple millions. I have a lot of goals.
Beautiful. So it's instantaneous, right?
My boyfriend, I already have a boyfriend, but I just love posing things in the positive. I am doing this because I don't want to focus on the fear. I don't want to focus on the negative. I want to be a leader, and removing the fear really helped me reframe things. And I do focus on those goals every morning and every night.
Yeah, and isn't that amazing? It's just like clouds. Once they disperse, the sun shines naturally. There's no extra, debriefing process that needs to happen. It's like clouds, no clouds light, right? And so what you shared, those are just examples of what comes in the app, what's already there, most likely, right? But just comes into our consciousness once the fear is removed. And so there's lots of ways to remove fear. And I just want to say, if I could just take a second and say thank you to anybody in this world that's doing anything to try to reduce the intensity or amount of fear going on individually or globally in whatever form. I'm not here to try to promote something over something else or whatever. I have just found that, with all of the different things that can be done and are being discussed, the simplicity, have you tried the simplicity of just writing them down and asking for them to be removed? Like Einstein said, a clever person solves a problem, a wise person avoids it entirely. Like, let's just get the bugs off the windshield and live. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I love that you want to spread the wealth and thank everyone that's doing the fantastic work that you're doing. And where can people find you to do more of this?
Oh, it's easy. It's just celebritycoachnick.com.
Well, thank you, Nick, for being an amazing guest on Whole CEO with Lisa G.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Lisa. Keep up the good work.
I would like to thank our sponsors, Magic Mind. This podcast is brought to you by Magic Mind. We have talked about fear and anxiety And Magic Mind is something that helps me also with my ADD and focus. I take it, I put it in my coffee, it calms me down, gives me this really good sense of focus, and I highly recommend it to all of you guys. So Magic Mind, check it out. Check it out at magicmind.co/beyond coffee for a free download. Thanks for coming.